20% off your first order with code TV20.
Arby's new steakhouse garlic ribeye sandwich.
Ribeye sandwich.
The best thing to...
Sorry, I'm just turning the... So, I know I might have said on a previous review that was my last review of the morning, of the afternoon. But, oh, I found this one. It says that it's a steam brew. It says it's a session IPA, although it is 4.9% alcohol by volume. So that's not exactly session. I don't know really what to make of this. I think it's German. So this isn't something brewed in England by an English brewery under license for Lidl. This is, I think, actually a German beer. So I don't know what to expect from this. Now, steam beer. Oh God, I could waffle before I even open it. I'll come back to that. Let's get this one opened and test it for aroma and flavour first. And then I can prattle on. I think that's an official beer term as well. Prattle. Yeah, then I can prattle on about steam beer. I'm old enough to remember it. I've drunk a lot of beer in my time. It still doesn't make me an expert. I'm just a perpetual student. Oh, pour. Sorry, you want to see the pour? Have a look at the pour. Okay, well, I'm not going to pour the whole thing because this is a biggie. And this really is a 500ml, so that's good. I can't remember the price. It wasn't expensive. It's cheaper than the others. Oh, but it's not a clear product. Despite being German, that, my friend, is somewhat cloudy. A lazy beer. Hazy beer is lazy beer. Okay. Well, the Germans are quite big on wheat beer. And we're not so much. So that just could be a wheaty lager. That's what I'm imagining anyway. Okay, well, that's a ridiculous head on that. Does that mean it's got good body, or I just poured it terribly? Very white head. Bright white. Definitely lager-esque. This is a lager-esque beer. Yeah. And I think these are Bavarian hops, straight away. Much more savoury. There's a slight sweetness to the aroma. But I think it's possible that these are lager hops. One of them, what do they call them? Essential hops. What's the term? Oh God. Oh no, I've had a few by now. It'll come back to me. I'll stick it out there. Primeval. I'm not going to get it, am I? I'm humiliating myself because I probably already put it up there. Delicious. No, I'm not going to get it. So, it's probably got some of those hops in it. But they're things like Pearl, and they've got funny names, haven't they? Rickenbacker. Let's give it a go. I'm expecting lager. I'm expecting a lager-based product. Okay, well, straight away, that's a lot more flavour. It's quite a sweet lager. It's quite a cloudy lager. But it's got a lot more flavour than a lager. It's nothing like as bland. This is most like a Pilsner. It's sweeter than a Pilsner. It's got more body than a Pilsner. It's richer. But it's really hard to say what that extra flavour is. See, they've not strayed far from their Pilsner roots here. Definitely a Pilsner yeast, definitely lager malt as a base malt. But yeah, you've got some other stuff going on there. Maybe Vienna malt or something, or there's something a little sweeter, a little maltier. And then the hopping's excellent. I'm going to say Northern Brewer. I'm going to stick my neck out, and I'm going to say predominantly Northern Brewer. It's got that kind of slightly piney aspect. It's like lager with flavour. It's nice. I like this. It's got all the body of an IPA, which is unusual for a lager, and it's a lot sweeter and more flavoursome. That's really nice. I mean, it might be because I'm pissed already. It might be because of the amount of research I've already previously done this evening. Believe what you will. But that's actually, that's another cracking beer. I'm not fond of lager because it's a bit thin and it's a bit bland, and I just get bored. I mean, if it's a really hot day, well, you don't want a lot of flavour. You don't want it warm. You don't want it too malty. In its place, on the right occasion, there's nothing wrong with lager. I used to drink it by the gallon. But now that I'm more mature and more cultured, and I take my health more seriously. Now that I take my health more seriously, well, actually, you know, my taste buds are a little bit better, and therefore I appreciate the flavours of things a little more. And it doesn't just have to be cold and wet anymore. So actually, I appreciate this. This is a lager with flavour, and isn't that what craft beer is all about? Having that sort of, essentially that Pilsner backdrop as a canvas on which to paint your wonderful hop and malt profiles. So this is absolutely the lager end of craft brewing, but equally this is a craft beer. It's not just a lager, this is a craft brew. And to complete what I was going to say earlier on about steam beer, in my day, when I was young, steam beer was always a new craze. Steam beer this, steam beer that. But it turned out that what steam beer was essentially beer, usually a little more ale than lager, maybe like a pale ale or something, but brewed with lager yeast at room temperature. And lager yeast is meant to be used at a very cold temperature. Yeast eats sugar, pees alcohol, and farts carbon dioxide. And in beer it does that fast enough. It contains enough gas that it's in suspension. It floats in water or in liquid. But in the case of lager, the whole process is so slow because of the cold temperature that actually the yeast never contains enough carbon dioxide to float, to be in suspension. It remains at the bottom, and that's known as a bottom fermentation. But if you take lager yeast, whatever your beer style, you brew it at room temperature, oh my God, is that a reaction? Lager yeast goes mad at room temperature, and the fermentation bit, instead of bubbling now and again through the airlock, it literally hisses and it sounds like it's steaming, and hence the name steam beer. Now, why they call this steam beer, I'm not sure. Maybe the cloudiness in it is due to the fact that it was brewed at room temperature and it brewed really fast and the yeast was in suspension and the yeast never fully cleared from the product. I can't say personally that I think that this tastes yeasty. I think it's cloudy due to the high content of wheat and not the residual yeast. But I don't know. But the fact it's so commercial and it's in a can, or whatever, but it could very well have been brewed at a room temperature. And the thing about that is that it'll happen quickly. Normally lager takes up to 3 months really to finish the fermentation process at such a cold temperature. But this is a perfect nice beer. It is growing on me all the while. I'd recommend it, particularly if lager is your style, or you're new to ales. This would be a good starting point. This is lager with flavour and cloud. I'm very surprised again. I'm not a lager fan, and I'm not a hazy beer fan, and I'm not a wheat beer fan. But this has the right elements of the various factors to be very drinkable. I'd like to drink it a bit colder, and I'd like the weather to be a bit brighter, a bit hotter. But this, yeah, quality product, most drinkable. Give me the choice between this and a standard lager. I drink this warm over the lager, even on a hot day. This is nice. I can't really fault it. It's just not my thing. I quite often find this, especially with cloudy beers or lagers. I'm not a huge fan. Doesn't mean to say I can't spot quality. And this is, yet again, another very drinkable product from Lidl. So, oh God, I'm going to have to say stick. I mean, I'm not a big fan of lager. But if you said, oh, we've only got lager, or this, we got a sticker. For the beer style, I'm staying with this. I'm not going to swap this for any other lager I can think of. You can keep it all. This is good. Found this on draft. I could drink this, especially on a hot day. Hot day, ice cold, winner.